Hey BookTube, it's Jackie. How's it going? If you are new to me, it's the first time you're seeing my face. Hello, what's up? My name's Jackie. I sit on my floor and I talk about books. So that's why you're here, because that's what's gonna be happening today. If you're not new to me, thank you for always tuning in, the continued support. I really do appreciate it. So today for you, I have my weekly wrap up. This is week 2 of 2023, and this falls between the dates of January 8th through January 14th and all my reading shenanigans in between. So without further ado, grab yourself a drink, have yourself a seat, and let's get talking some books. Okay. So, I am still progressing my way through Valor. Not very much, but I am still making my way through it. So I did work on this for a little bit this week. Not much has really developed since the last time. So, still plugging away. Still plugging away. Still plugging away. It's good. Like, I don't want you guys to think that this book is bad. It's because it's taking me so long to read. It's just there's other stuff that I want to read and I'm just not feeling it right now. So I can't just sit down and focus on it. And that's what I really need to do. Sit down and fucking read it and be done with it, because I do enjoy it. When I'm in it, I enjoy it. I have a great fucking time with it. But then I put it away and I go and read something else. Like the book I'm about to talk about. Gets me spurned for these, gets me build up for these other things. And I'm just like, I'm not thinking about this anymore. Damn it. So please, if you are all thinking about reading the Faithful of Fallen series, don't take the fact that I have literally spent like a month and a half trying to read this book as any consolation that there's something's wrong with it. This book is fantastic. What I have read, I love everything that I've read about it and what I've read within it so far. It's just taking me personally a longer time because it's just not something I'm feeling right at this moment. But I don't want to DNF it because I don't know when I'm going to come back to pick it up if I do. So, the next book I did complete though, is this guy, Twin Flames by A. Briar. This is a novella that I recently discovered, like literally New Year's Eve night. I saw it pop up on Facebook and I was like, what? I gotta read this. And I was not disappointed. I was not. So this is a novella, extremely forbidden taboos. We have a dark academia vibe, and I'm literally reading off the trigger warning from the book. Like I just copy and pasted it here. So dark academia vibe, gothic elements, we have violence, we have murder, we have gore, we have obsessive hero and heroine, we have flashbacks to sexual assault but not by the hero, we have disturbing childhood memories, we have non-con, we have dub-con, we have a soulmate twin flame sort of trope going on here. We have mentions of self-harm, and we have an undiagnosed mental disorder, and we also have twincest. Yeah. By the way, this book is only like 89 pages. Yeah. This one packs a punch in a very itty-bitty package. So, we follow Violet and Christian. They definitely remind me of a very twisted Wednesday and Pugsley Addams. If Wednesday and Pugsley Addams were twins, I feel like this would be them. Very, very twisted, very, very dark. An incident happens prior to the start of this novel, and we open up the story with Violet at the edge of the stairs looking at her mother who is dead, and Christian being ripped away from her. And then we just jump forward, I think 5 or 6 years later, and they are reunited. When Christian returns home, that's where our story takes off, because immediately you are thrown into this world and you're just, what the fuck am I going into? I walked into the story, mother is dead, Christian is being ripped away from his sister, and they're fighting for each other to hold on to each other, and then we get reunited, and all of a sudden there's this like chemistry that, where the fuck did this shit come from? Like super steamy, super spicy, like instantaneous, I need you right now kind of look when they see each other. Just this pull to each other that's more than the twin pull, and it's right there, right at the start of the book. This whole story really reminds me of Rob Zombie's take on the Addams Family minus the parents. If Rob Zombie were to make the Addams Family kind of in reminiscent of A House of 1,000 Corpses, that's kind of what I figure it would look like, is this book. Very reminiscent, but this thing twists and turns all over the place that I didn't see fucking coming. I just knew that there was something dark and twisty about it, and you learn there's some dark and twisty stuff. what worked, the eeriness factor of this book, you get it from page one. Page one, that description of Violet kneeling by her mother at the base of stairs with blood pooling around her mother's head, sets this tone for the book that it never leaves. It never fucking leaves. You have walked into a house of, not even a haunted house, just a creepy fucking gothic mansion where every little creak and nook and cranny is filled with some kind of terror and horror. And then you start learning about the family and how they have this blood-drenched history and this blood-soaked history. Mind you, this is taking place in fucking Ohio. Okay? It takes place in Ohio. So I'm just like, all right, that's not the place I expected this to take place in. So that was kind of a juxtaposition and kind of threw me for a loop. But just, the book sets off, these first like 10 to 15 pages give you this eeriness factor that never leaves you. I kind of wish I would have read this during the spooky season, because this is a great, great fucking recommendation for the spooky season. Get you in that vibe and that element. Definitely for sure gives you the fall spooky vibes. The next thing that really worked was the immediate chemistry between Violet and Christian. I knew going in that there was twincest in this book. I already knew that that was the taboo element of this story. I did not expect to see it right fucking there smack me in the face. I did not expect the moment where they were rekindled to fucking see it and just be like, oh, this shit's happening. Yep, this is happening. This is, okay, buckle up. This is going to be a ride. I mean, it's right there. But at the same time, the way it is written, it's written as if it is just a long loss. I haven't seen my brother for 5 years. He was taken away from me. And twins have that, special bond. I'm not a twin, but I've been told that, there's like that special bond between twins. And so for a while, you think it's that. And then you learn very quickly that it's not just that. There's another element. There's a soul mate. There's a missing piece to them more than just the fact they shared a womb with each other. They are literally the same side. They're two sides of the exact same coin, and they can't exist without each other, at least healthily, or at least in a healthy way. The twist ending. Did not see that one coming. Nope. Not at all. I knew there was dark and twisty in this. I knew there was disturbing images in this. I knew that there was going to be elements I was maybe not going to be comfortable with. For a lot of people probably won't be comfortable with some of the triggers in this book, but I was not expecting that twist ending. And as fucking creepy as that was, oh my God, it was fucking great. Oh my God. I was down for it, and I was like, oh, that was fucking sweet. Oh my God, that was awesome. And it's literally, the way Briar writes this twist. In some books, you see the twist building. You could start seeing the twist coming. And then it's like a paragraph of like description of the twist. And you're like, oh my God, that shattered me. No, this was like a fucking line that she just threw in there real fucking quick. And you're like, wait, what? Hold up. What? Oh shit. Whoa. Oh, this just turned this whole story into something completely fucking different. It is a twist that will make you look at everything that you just read completely different. 100% differently. It's no longer this one story that you've been kind of, taboo sort of thing going on. It is completely something different, but oh my God, it was fucking good. Oh my God, it was so good. It was just like, hold up. What? Will you read that again? And it's a fucking line. It's a line just thrown in there at the very end of the book. And you're just like, okay. I need a minute. I need a minute to process the fuck did I just read, because you literally just changed the whole scope of this story with a single line. A single line. The whole scope of the story was changed. At least for me. Maybe a more seasoned taboo romance reader would have picked that up, but me, I didn't. And I was just like, oh, that's fucking awesome. That was awesome. Yeah, it was done really, really well. There are, however, some things in this book that didn't work. Christian had this desire to hurt Violet, but yet he loved her. And I didn't quite understand this because there's multiple times where he says, if someone's going to hurt her, it's going to be me. If she's going to be hurt, it's going to be by me. He finds the blade that she uses to cut herself because she is a self-harmer. And he's like, no, this isn't happening. You don't hurt yourself. I hurt you. I didn't quite understand that. And I don't know if it was maybe his own self-hatred coming out and he's taking it out on her, because there are moments in this book where he fights the physical attraction, the physical want and desire towards her. He does fight it. So I'm wondering if it's something to go with that. But I wasn't really quite for sure because it's never really explained why he says things like that. He's super protective of her, but he's only protective of her because if she's going to be hurt, it's going to be by him. That's it. No one else can hurt her. I can. It's not no one else can touch her. It's not no one else can love her. No one else can take care of her. It's no, you don't get to hurt her. I do. And I didn't quite understand that. But we do have an undiagnosed mental disorder on his behalf. And so I'm wondering if it has something to do with that. And that's just his way, by him saying, if she's going to hurt, it's going to be by me. That's his way of saying, I care about her so much that I'm the only one that could ever cause her any type of emotion. I don't know if I'm maybe reading too much into it, because that was the only thing that didn't really sit well with me, because I didn't quite understand that. I would have liked a little bit more clarification on that. Because he never hurts her. He never hurts her. But he says, I'm the only one that's going to hurt you. But you never hurt her. I don't get it. I don't. I want this longer. That was the other thing. I find this with novellas that I really like. I wish they were longer. I want more of this. I wanted more of this world, of this dark, creepy element. I love horror films. I love dark and spooky. Rob Zombie is one of my favorite directors. I love the idea that this could be like a Rob Zombie film. Like, I want Rob Zombie to take this and turn this into a fucking movie. I think that would be awesome. And I think it'd be creepy and sexy and just, it's not very romantic, but this is a very dark, sexy book. I wouldn't say that this is like lovey romantic. This is dark and this is twisted and this is fucked up. But it is done really, really well. And I had a good time with it. And I really wanted it longer. I wanted it more fleshed out. I wanted to see more of the drama between these two. I wanted to see more of the situations, the scenarios between these two. I wanted to see these two grow up and see how this taboo world was developed between them. Like how it really started to formulate, when it started. I wanted to see that fleshed out. And I think it would have been, I think this as a full-length novel would be fucking fantastic. Would not be for everybody. A lot of people would not be able to read this because of some of the elements in it. Because there is a lot of gore in this as well. There is a large gore factor in this book. I do want to state that. It's not just some little bit here and there. I mean, it is graphically described, graphically displayed, and graphically shown. So very high on the gore factor. And I have no problem with gore in books. I have no problem with gore in movies. I don't have a problem with gore in like at all. So except eye shit. I can deal with it, but yeah, gross. But I feel like this book would have been, if it would have been, I think I could have made this a 5-star if I would have had more of it. I just got a sampling of this and I want more of this. Oh my God, I do. This was so creepy and weird and intense and fucking mind-blowing twist. I was just like, I want more of that. I want it. We do have a spice rating. I gave it a 3.5 on Chili Peppers. We have graphic depictions of oral sex, both male and female. And I do enjoy how she used the oral sex component because this is a waking up oral sex component. Both times it's performed, it is when the person who is receiving is kind of slightly incoherent. She's asleep, and when he receives it, he's under an acid trip. So he doesn't even know if it actually happens or not. But I thoroughly enjoy that act. I think that's awesome. When you are with someone who it's consensual and they are okay with that, and you guys have discussed it ahead of time that it's okay, that's something you could do with each other. I think those elements are great. I love that. And I haven't seen it in a romance book a while, so it was nice to see that again. I thoroughly enjoy that, that surprise element, waking somebody up like that. I think it's a great way to wake up in the morning. It's a great way. Just saying. It's a great way. We do have multiple locations. We don't just have the house, but we have some non-consensual moments in a graveyard, which is slightly fucking cool to me. I'm not gonna lie. I think that shit's fucking insanely hot. Not the non-consensual part, but the fact that they put it in a graveyard, in a mausoleum, I thought was fucking dope. I was like, let's just add on to this eeriness factor. Let's just keep piling on. It's fine. It's fine. I'm great with it. We also have a library location, which, you know, book person, library. Yeah, that's kind of important to me. You know, that's great. And then you also have the twin factor. They're fucking related. They are biologically brother and sister. They shared a womb the same fucking time. They came out of the same vagina. So, you know, that ratchets up the spice rating. There's not a lot of actual sex in here. There's a lot of foreplay. There's a lot of suggestion. There's a lot of petting. The non-con scene is a fade to black non-con scene. So you don't actually see it, but you know exactly what's about to fucking happen. So if that is a trigger for you, you do know that you can read this. You just know what's going to be happening. But you don't actually see the actions. You see the results of it later. So I'm sorry that's a spoiler, but I do like to point that out for people who want to read non-con books, but don't actually want to physically see the act. You don't actually physically see it. It is fade to black. But the fact that they're fucking related, they're twins. They're brother and sister. That ratchets up the spice rating. But there's not a lot of actual, like, super sexy fun times. There's a lot of build up to super sexy fun times, which is nice. But I had a great time with this guy. This guy was fun. And I plan on picking up another one of her books. Yeah, this was a good time. Definitely, if you're looking for something spicy, taboo, and short, right there. There you go. The next book I read and completed was Amore by Kimberly Knight. It looks like this. This I picked up for the ABCs of Love Read-Along, which is my read-along that I'm hosting with Jen over the Book Refuge. This is the installment for A. And we have a second chance romance with bodyguard, and there is some other tropes involved in there, stalking and an attempted sexual assault on page. So there's some more heavier triggers in here than we were aware of. And we follow Frankie and Luke, who are childhood friends, and they hook up one time before she goes off to college, and they lose their virginities to each other. However, Frankie freaks the fuck out and ghosts Luke and his sister, who happen to be her best friend, for the next 9 years. Ghosts them. Not a word, not a peep, hides for them when she comes home to visit her family, whole 9 yards. Like, has nothing to do with them. Frankie becomes a famous actress, or is an up-and-coming famous actress, and she's dating this guy who she was just in a movie with. And she's only been dating for a few weeks, but he is into some sex clubs, so he takes her to a sex club where Luke is actually moonlighting as a bouncer. Luke is an LAPD officer, and he is moonlighting as the bouncer here to earn some extra cash, and they run into each other, and they sort of reconnect. They exchange phone numbers, and they meet up for coffee, and that's where our story really starts to spiral off. So not only do we have a second chance romance, a bodyguard, we have a Hollywood starlet kind of trope going on as well with the paparazzi, so you have that influence on their relationship. You have the fact that Luke is currently dating his partner. Got that problem going on. There's a lot of stuff in this book. However, I only gave this book 2 stars. But I'm going to reserve what worked and what didn't work, because we will be doing a live show on January 28th at 7:30 on my channel. There are still spots available for that panel if you'd like to join us. The sign-up sheet will be down in the down box below. And we'll be discussing this book and Beckon, which I have not read yet, but it's on my list to read this coming week. So that's what this book is about. So if you have not picked it up and you would like to, please feel free to give it a shot. I only gave it 2 stars, and I know Jen DNF'd it. And so far, I've heard a lot of people say they didn't like the heroine. So I don't know. But, you know, the live show, if you want to read it, we might just be ranting and bitching, which is just as much fun as gushing. So pick it up. I mean, it might work for you. It might not work for everybody, but it might work for you guys. So that's what I got to say about that one, because I'm going to reserve my thoughts for the live show on the 28th at 7:30 on my channel. I hope to see you guys all there. And the last book I read for the week was After the Game by Abbi Glines, and I gave this 4 stars. I came back to the Field Party series as one of the series I wanted to complete this year. And this is the third installment to the Field Party series. We have another small town romance. We are in Lawton still. And I would still consider a football romance because it does center around a big championship football game. That's kind of the big crux of a problem of one of the drama points for our couple. And we do have a teenage mom trope in this, as well as family sickness. We have images of Alzheimer's. One of our characters is suffering from Alzheimer's, and so we do have a trigger for that. As well as we have cheating not by the hero, thank God. And we have flashbacks to sexual assault off page. So we follow Brady and Riley in this. Brady and Riley, we have met in both previous installments. Brady got more heavily featured in the second installment with Gunnar. He was in that little triangle with Gunnar and Willa and Brady. And then the second part of the book completely just like kicked him out because it became Gunnar's fucked up life family tree story. So this is Brady's story. And the reason I bring up Gunnar is because Riley is attached to Gunnar as well. Riley dated Gunnar back in the day, and Riley was assaulted and accused Gunnar's brother of rape, who we find out in book 2 isn't even his fucking brother. At all. It's actually his nephew. Gunnar is Rhett's uncle. Yeah, fucked up family tree. So that's why I have to mention Gunnar from the previous installment. You do not have to read the first 2 installments to understand this book because Abbi does a really good job of giving you the materials that you need to understand that point in the story, and she peppers it through. She does a really good job without info dumping. It's when you need the information, she gives it to you. So she's very intuitive in that in her writing. So I really enjoyed that. But Brady in book 1 and book 2 has always been known as Mr. Nice Guy. He's the star quarterback. He's perfect. He's got a perfect life. And, you know, his family took in Maggie, who was his cousin, who was Wes and Maggie's story from the first book. So we are coming full circle with this trifecta of seniors in this one. And Brady has finally broken up with Ivy after a year and a half of dating. It just wasn't working out, and he got tired of leading her on. He knew it wasn't it, and he was done. So he is just recently broken up with Ivy, and he encounters Riley at the park with her daughter, and it starts to storm. He offers Riley a ride home. Riley kind of obstinate about it because Riley and Brady were friends. And when it all came out that Riley accused Rhett of rape, Brady took the side of Rhett and said, "You're a liar. You're making this up. Why are you doing this?" And Riley was run out of town for 2 years, and she has just come back to help take care of her grandmother. So that's why she's back. So now she's back in a town that didn't fucking want her, and she's running into a guy who literally is considered the nicest guy in town, and he at one point in time turned on her. But because he is a nice guy and he sees Riley with a child, he thinks it's her little sister, offers her a ride home. Turns out it's her daughter, which gets him thinking maybe she wasn't lying. And all these thoughts start to formulate, and slowly but surely this facade of this perfect world, this perfect fairy tale that Brady's lived in is breaking down day by day by day. While Riley is going through trying to reacclimate herself back to this town and trying to learn to retrust somebody who had broken her trust in the first place, Brady is literally having his world shattered because he walks out on his father, doing something that is going to destroy him, destroy his family, and destroy their little private little realm community because he's Mr. Perfect. And that's when our story really hardcore kicks off. That is when we see Brady and Riley start to really lean on each other and start to trust each other to build this romance that we eventually have in the story. What works? Tie-ins. I love the way Abbi does her tie-ins. Like I said earlier, she does not info dump. She gives you the information that you need when you need it. So if you don't want to read the first 2 installments, you don't have to. However, if you don't read the first 2 installments and you read this one, those 2 are going to be spoiled because the information she gives you is what you need to know to understand this point in the story, but it's also spoilers for those 2 books. So definitely read these in order, but you don't have to if you really don't want to. I really enjoyed how she wrote Brady's struggle to remain this nice guy after realizing this falsehood that he's been living in. When you're a high schooler and you start to realize what the real world is actually like, that's fucking scary. It is. When you start realizing that not everybody's going to come to your aid, you know, just because you didn't do your homework in high school doesn't mean you're going to completely fail. But in the real world, if you don't do something, you could literally fall on your face flat. When the facade and the little bubble of high school starts to break apart, that is really, really fucking scary. And he is starting to see it. And I love the way that she wrote the struggle with Brady. It was genuine. It was real. I remember feeling some of those similar things, saying, you know, well, everybody else does all this fucking shit. Why can't I go fucking do this? Why do I have to be the good one? Why do I always have to follow the fucking rules? No one else seems to get fucking trouble when they don't follow the rules. Why do I fucking have to? And I love the struggles that she gave Brady, because these are struggles that every high schooler eventually at one point in time will fucking go through. Granted, his are a little bit more extreme because of the dramatic factor of the element with his dad. But still, they were there, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed seeing that through that window because it reminded me of going through that and knowing that I made it through. And so I'm really, really happy about that. I loved the sweetness between Riley and Brady's relationship. They try to start off as friends, but you know there's just something there. There's that little chemistry. And although it's not really emphasized, the little glimpses that you get, the little looks, the little, you know, grazes, I just love that. I love the sweetness factor of this. I think that's one reason why I like these small town romances, because they have that sweetness factor. It's still so pure and it's innocent, and it's just all the fucking bullshit hasn't happened, you know, in life. And I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed seeing that sweetness factor juxtaposition with the dramatic factor that we do get in this book. Abbi does a really good job with this age-appropriate reactions to situations. This is also a point that I thought didn't work, because I thought she did it well at certain points, and I don't think she nailed it on other points. There are some moments in this book where Brady acts exactly how I think a 18-year-old guy would act in this fucking situation. Same with Riley. Now, Riley's story is a little different. Riley is a teenage mom, so her mindset is changing. She has changed her mindset, but at the same time, I feel that's where she kind of missed it. I don't feel Riley would have been that all well, you know, engrossed in it. I feel like there still would have been that teenage pull a little bit going for her, but Brady, you saw it better in his age-appropriate reactions. So I really enjoyed that aspect, and I enjoyed how she kind of did both, but I just think she didn't really nail it with Riley as well. Something I also really enjoyed is how Abbi Glines, and she's done this with these 3 installments, and she did it with the other series I read. So I think this is like a theme for her. She has very negative and very dark things in her books, but she doesn't focus on them. They are there. They're a thing we have to deal with, but we focus more on the healing and the growth and what you can gain from it. She focuses on the silver lining of all these dark, negative situations a lot more than the actual negativity. And I really, really like that. I'm kind of a pessimist in real life. The glass is half empty in my eyes most of the time. I try to be optimistic a lot of times, but it is definitely a struggle. I have to actively do it. So to have it forced upon me in these books, I kind of enjoy. I enjoy kind of being taken out of my own element, because as these situations are developing, I'm sitting here, I'm like, how the fuck are you being so calm about this? Fuck that guy. He can kiss my ass. Like, no, fuck that dude. I do not forgive him. All this other shit. But seeing the silver lining, being it forced into my face, I really enjoy that element that she does with these books. And so far she's done it in these 3 installments. So I'm hoping that continues throughout the rest of the series, because I really do enjoy that element a lot. What didn't work? So in this book, we do have reference to sexual assault off page. Riley was assaulted by Rhett. And we get these italicized passages of kind of like the buildup of that night happening. So I'm thinking eventually we're going to get to that night where like she's going to tell, you know, Brady the actual story. It never happens. Like, we get this buildup and we get her in the car, and then it goes from there. And we don't really ever hear about it. We just get told about the very, very end that this happened. Not that I really wanted to see it, but you gave me all this fucking buildup, like multiple pages of buildup, and then you don't actually give it to me. like, that was kind of a letdown. I got a line, and that was it. So I was like, why did you waste my time with this? You could have just, briefly described it and been done with it. Why did you give me like pages of dialect and specific events leading up to that moment? I didn't really get that at all. I was like, what was the point of that? That was wasted space for me. So Riley's daughter, and I think it's Bryony is how you say her name, or Briani. I don't exactly know how to pronounce her name. This daughter was so well behaved. She's a toddler. But every instance we have with her, she is super well behaved. No tantrums, no fights, no screamings, no anything. I understand that toddlers are not always little demon terrorists all the time, 24/7. I'm fully aware of that. But like, literally the entire book, she was perfect. Smiled, always cheerful, never had a fit. Brady comes in, has dinner, and she's not throwing a fit, not throwing her food, nothing. Like, she's super well behaved. All the freaking, no. I have never had a toddler because I came into my daughter's life when she was 7, but they're not fucking pleasant all the goddamn time. Okay, guys? They're not. They're cute all the time. They're not always pleasant. All right. So I just like, no, I don't like that. I had a thing with Brady's mom. I felt for Brady's mom because of what happens to her. But the thing that bothered me about Brady's mom is that she was so open and so encouraging of Brady and Riley's romance. And you're probably thinking, well, why are you upset about that, Jackie? Here's my thing. Riley is a teenage mother, okay? A teenage mother. And her son has a full ride scholarship to pretty much anywhere because he's like a star quarterback. He's best in the state, labeled it, named it, in the newspapers for it. There's a whole couple pages where they're talking about how he was labeled the best quarterback in the state. I understand the mom is super well adjusted and wants the best for her son. She took in her niece, Maggie, after what happened. So she's very understanding of dark things going on and how you have to remain positive. But she was so accommodating to her 18-year-old son, saying that this woman who has a child is it. I feel like if I would have at least seen a conversation with Brady and his mom saying, are you sure you want to take on this responsibility? Because being a step parent, that's a responsibility coming in. That's something you have to think about. And 18-year-old Brady didn't think about it. He loved Riley, so he loved Bryony. He took them as a package deal, which is beautiful and great, and I think that's fantastic. But we also have Riley being the realist in the situation, saying, I can't uproot her and move her to your college. I believe the mom, Brady's mom, should have also been some kind of a realist in that situation as well and talked to him and said, are you sure that you want to get involved in this? Because once you get involved with her, you get involved with that little girl. And that little girl becomes part of your responsibility. You can't just one day say, I'm fucking done and walk the fuck away. It is not how that works. So I kind of wish that there would have been some conversation, at least showing that maybe she had some reservations, not against Riley, not against her being a teen mom, just reservations that her son knew what he was taking on by choosing to be with Riley. I think that's great. I think it's awesome that he didn't care. He accepted it full responsibility no matter what. I thought that was beautiful and awesome, but there is responsibility that comes with it, and I wish that conversation would have been in there. We already have serious topics of cheating and sexual assault. That would have been nothing to have in there, just like a quick conversation. I think it would have made me feel better about Brady's decision. Being a step parent, I would have related to Brady more, knowing that he at least thought it through, because I had to. So, I just kind of wish that conversation would have been there. And I already mentioned the over maturity, the maturity at some age levels. There were some times where they were acting way more mature than than a teenager would. But I'm not a teen mom, so maybe teen mom, they have a different mindset because they have to. But I still feel like they still have that kind of teenage pull. Going back into the world and, dealing with, do I remain this mom or how do I have somewhat of a life at the same time? With Riley, it was just, she was too perfect at it. It was too easy. There wasn't a struggle really, and the struggle that I saw wasn't really strong enough for me to believe that she was actually struggling with it. She was struggling more with the fact that nobody wanted her around because she was accused of lying about a rape, not the fact that she was coming back into the world and starting a life back up again. So, we have a half chili pepper on the spice rating for this book because there was nothing. We had like a heavy petting scene and some sweet kisses. Riley was a virgin when she was assaulted, so she has actually never fully given herself, and she does make a point to say that in the book, that I have never given myself, so I'm still a virgin in my mind. Physically, I'm not, but in my head, I am. So everything is very, very sweet, demure, very, very timid. We do get one like kind of heavy petting scene, which was kind of cool. But even in the previous installments with Brady, he's never been the handsy, the kind of cavemanish type of guy. He's always been he's the nice guy. And this time the nice guy gets to finish first. So I had a good time with this one. It was 4 stars. Definitely excited about continuing with the rest of the series. Had a great time with it. But that is what I got done this week, guys. I'm kind of back in my swing. So yes, I'm looking forward to the books I have planned for this week, and I will see you guys all soon with another video. Again, the sign-up sheet for the live show on January 28th at 7:30 on my channel will be linked down the mailbox below. There are still spots available, so please feel free to sign up, and we will see you on that panel, and I will see you guys all soon with another video.